Today we're going to make a 5-gallon batch of mead using the Catalyst from Craft A Brew. Stay tuned. Let's get this thing going. Welcome back, everybody. So we are going to make a 5-gallon batch of mead using the Catalyst. I did do a preview and a assembly video for it. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. I'll link it. So the first thing we need to do is sanitize. So what I've done is I sanitize the jar in my bucket. Usually before every single brew day or mead day, I'll make a huge bucket of sanitizer and that's what I'll use. But for this, I'm going to go ahead and spray everything down. So let's go ahead and start. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I was running water down the stairs. So with this, obviously it's a little tall. I'm just going to tilt it to get the top and stuff. Obviously, I don't care if I get everything wet. But obviously, depending on what sanitizer you're going to use, make sure you look at the directions to see how long it has to sit. So I sprayed down the top, I sprayed down the inside. Obviously on mine, I know, so I have to let it sit 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open the butterfly valve and try and get up in there. And I think I can just shoot it directly. There we go. And then we can close it. And I'll go ahead and get the other side. There. Okay, so mine has to sit 2 minutes. That'll give us a little bit of time. So here's my plan. So what I'm going to do, if you guys have been following me, usually what I do is I will do 5 1-gallon batches using 3 pounds, 2 pounds of honey, depending on what I want to test out. But for this batch, what we're going to do is we're going to make 5 gallons directly into this, just honey, water, yeast. We'll let it ferment out, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use the accessories that they send you to move the mead into 1-gallon carboys. What I was going to do is I was going to do a whole entire thing with cherries, but I couldn't get the cherries. So this first go around, what we're going to test is see what it looks like when it is fermenting in there. My guess is all the yeast is going to do normally what it does, and then it's going to sink to the bottom. We can close it, take it off, then we should be good to go. I will do another mead batch of 5 gallons, probably using something different. I want to use some kind of fruit, something that I have to pull out of here to see if it all settles or if it floats or how that's going to work. So on this one, like I said, we're just going to do the meat or honey, water, and yeast nutrients, all that stuff, and we'll see how much stuff sinks to the bottom. Obviously, I'm guessing it all will. I'm hoping it will, but we're going to find out. So, what I've picked up is I have, and I think this is just honey. They call it pure honey. Yeah. So this is just a local honey. The guy that I usually get my honey from didn't return my phone call and didn't return my email, so I did pick this up at Bell's. So this is 12 pounds of honey. So we're going to put 12 pounds into a 5-gallon batch. It's probably a little low, but I'm fine with that because what we're going to do this year is we're going to back sweeten with the same honey. So once they're ready, we will back sweeten. I will buy more of the same honey and then we'll back sweeten them. So the ABV is probably going to be a little low, but that is okay. So what I've done is my honey has been sitting in hot water for probably almost an hour now. We want it almost liquid, so when we dump it in there, you know, it's going to come out and we're not going to have to sit there and keep on scraping it. So over on the side, which you guys probably can't see, maybe you can see a little, I've got 2 pans of hot water that I've brought up in temperature. They were not boiling. We don't need it boiling. We just need it hot, so that way the honey will dissolve in that. Then for the yeast, I have not tried this, so we're going to try it this time. This is the White Labs Sweet Mead Wine Yeast, WLP 720. So even when we get down to the 1 gallon carboys, we're going to do different stuff with those, as you guys have suggested in the past, but it will all be the same yeast that has worked in there. So let's go ahead and try and get the hot water in here without burning myself. Also remember, before you do this, a good rule of thumb is I would put some water in there. Make sure that your butterfly valve is sealed. I do believe on the card that they give you or on the instructions they say tighten, do not over tighten. So that's what I've done. I put some water in there, it didn't leak. Ball valve is closed. I'm going to wait to put the mason jar on it until we get everything done and we get it mixed up. Then we'll slowly open it and put the yeast in there. This will be different than beer. We are not going to let it sit to, you know, get all that trub or all the first runnings out, as we're just using honey, water, and yeast. So let's go ahead and get these in there. Hopefully this goes well. And again, when you're doing this, for the hot water, I would say about 1 gallon, somewhere around there. You just want enough liquid in there so that way it will, the honey can dissolve in there. So right there is about 1.5 gallons. And that's what I can say right off the bat. That's what I do like about this, is there are clear markings on there. I know where it is. I don't have to get down on my hands and knees and look for marks. It's clearly marked on there. This can take it. This is rated for 235 degrees. So even if it was boiling, you could still dump it in there. So let's get this honey opened and see how this goes. And we will start dumping this in there. Obviously, we are going to make some kind of a mess. I'm just going to put the whole thing in there. So obviously, we do have a lot to go, but I'm just going to stir this up some. Get it moving around. And depending on how warm your water is, will be how fast this honey dissolves. Now, in this much water, is it going to dissolve at all? No, it's not. But we are going to fill the rest with cold water to 5 gallons. That way it brings down our temperature of our must that we have in there now. Because obviously, I don't know if you guys can see, but we're still I still have steam coming up. But it smells very, very good. Okay, I think that's pretty well incorporated. Let's see if we can get some more of this out. And another thing that you can do for this is almost like when you're brewing a beer, you can take some hot water if you're doing like an extract batch or something like that. You can put some of the water in there and shake it up, which we will try and do. Just make sure everything's clean when you do this. I'm actually going to use the jar to dump some in here and shake up. Because I don't know where the outside of this has been. So I'll go ahead and scrape a little bit of this off. And we'll take our jar, grab some of it, dump it in there. We'll put the lid on it. I don't think it's that hot that it's going to blow this lid off. Okay, I was wrong. Just that little bit. So make sure I'm guessing the dogs heard that. That's why they're going. But see, that's one thing you have to be careful about is putting hot liquid in a container and putting a lid on it. Obviously, I wasn't thinking that was going to happen, but I was prepared. So there we go. I think we've got that pretty clean. And now I can clean up the honey mixture that's on my table. But so now what I'm going to do is I will go get water and fill this up to the 5-gallon mark. I'm going to go a little bit more just because of the mason jar is going to collect a little bit. So I will take it a little bit over 5 gallons, but not very much. So right now with the spoon sticking in there, we're a little bit over 2.5 gallons of liquid must that's in there. So I will be right back with more water. Okay, so our mess is cleaned up. Let's go ahead and dump the cold water in now. Hopefully, I doubt it's going to get us to 5, so I'll have to go get more. Yeah, that's a little over 4 gallons now that we have in there. Let's go ahead and give it a stir. Okay, there we go. I will be right back. I'm going to get some more water. Okay, so we are just over 5 gallons right now. We're actually at 20 liters. So what I would suggest doing is stirring this a little bit, especially on the bottom, depending on how long it's been. If you touch it, it is a tiny bit warm. I think that's fine. The yeast will be happy. It's not that hot. It's probably a little bit hotter than what you should pitch your beer yeast in. But let's go ahead and take a gravity reading to see what we're at. There we go. Very sweet honey water. If we look, we're at a little over 19 bricks right now. So that's good. Again, it really doesn't matter. I guess if you wanted to input this into Beersmith and do all that, you can. But for me, 19 bricks, that's perfectly fine. It's a tiny bit over. So now, and I do have a cheat sheet, so we are going to do a staggered nutrient in this, just like I do in all mine. So yeast nutrient, it is 1 teaspoon per gallon of must. So we have 5 gallons, so that obviously means we need 5 teaspoons of it. Yeast energizer is half a teaspoon per gallon, so we need 2.5. Looking at my notes, so that means we're going to do, of the nutrient, the white stuff, we will do 1.25 teaspoons per day, and then yeast nutrient is just over half a teaspoon each day. And the only one my wife would let me have is the 1/8. So I did some calculations, so it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 of these in each day. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 of those, then we'll just do 5 of the Energizer. Now obviously the reason we're doing this is yeast does have a hard time eating through this stuff, so we're going to help it and give it all the nutrients we can. So there we go. And then what we're going to want to do is stir this up, and then we can pitch our yeast. And what I do and what I would suggest doing is make sure you stir and agitate this every single day for the first 4 days. Rouse those yeast, get them working. It's going to be a lot easier for me in this than it is in a 1 gallon because I can actually take the top off and use this spoon and stir everything up. Also, this is very good for getting that oxygen in there. If you do oxygenate your beer with a canister and a stone, you can do that. Or if you want, you can just do it like this. In a 1 gallon batch, like I was saying, I think it is harder in the long run, just for the simple fact that you have an airlock on top, and if you shake it too hard, the water is going to come out the top. So, okay, there we go. I think that's good enough. So now what we're going to do is put the yeast in, but before that, let's go ahead and put the jar on. The jar is kind of sticky on the side because I dumped it in there. I can clean it off, but let's go ahead and get it in here. It's sticking to my hands. There we go. Oh well. Okay, so that's on there. Now going by the Craft Day Brew website, when they show this, they show it slowly opening. But let's go ahead and put our yeast in before we do that, and then we'll put the lid on, put the airlock on, then we'll open it. So I do have sanitized scissors here. Cut the top off of this. Again, I've never used this sweet mead wine yeast, so I'm kind of excited to see what it'll come out like. Let's go ahead and dump it in there. And get it all out. There we go. Cool. Okay, so now that's on there. Let's take our sanitized lid and put this on there. Now when you are putting this lid on, it does have slots to each connection. So obviously, if it's not lining up correctly, you'll know why. So you just push down and push the little pads in, the tabs, like that, and you are good. Hopefully, we're good. It does have a gasket in there. It almost seems like those tabs want to be pushed out, but I think we're safe. So then you'll want to install the bung that they give you. They do supply you with that. So let's go ahead and put that in there. And then our airlock, I do use 3-piece airlocks. Then what I do is I put the second piece in there, open up my bottle of sanitizer, and hopefully not get it all over the place, and fill it up to the line. Oops. There we go. A little high, but that's okay. Okay. So now we will, I'm going to get some of that out. And what I do sometimes is just take, if it'll fit down in there and cooperate with me, is I take a napkin and just push the side of it down and it'll suck up enough liquid. There you go. Then you can clean the top with it. And we are bubbling, you can press down and that should move. If it is doing that, that is pretty much the only place the air is getting up from. So we can put that on there. Okay, let's go ahead and open up this valve. So we want to do it slowly. So there's one click. I can see the yeast floating around in there. So that's just one click, and I'm pressing on it just a tiny bit. And then once it stops, you can go ahead and open it to full. So with this mason jar, and I don't know if it shows, I'm not seeing it. I could be wrong. I'm not sure what size that mason jar is, but like I said, before we opened that, we were at the 20 liter mark. Now we're just above 5 gallons. So that shows that depending on what you're doing, if you do account for true loss in like Beersmith or something like that, you might want to set it, you know, a tiny bit, a quarter of a gallon or something like that. But so yeah, we will do the staggered yeast nutrients every day for the first 4 days, and then we will let it go until it's totally done. Then we will be back. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, thanks to Craft and Brew for sending me this. I will make more Mead videos, but like I said, on this one, what we're going to do, we're going to use the attachment, put it in there, put it into 5 1-gallon carboys, and see how it does. I would hope to see this thing, you know, starting to bubble in the next, you know, 4 or 5 hours. That should be plenty. But if you guys have used this system on Meads or anything else, let me know what you guys think about it. Also, let me know if you guys have used that sweet Mead yet. I just heard about it, so that's what I got. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, happy brewing. Thank you for watching this video. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Leave me a comment down below to tell me what you thought about this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe and share, and hit that bell so you know when new videos are coming out. You can check out these videos over here. Also, head over to 31stbrewing.com for everything beer and home brewing related.